And we're back. So this is everything I got for the month of July in 2023. Pretty good stack of singles this month, couple of trades. It's hard to have a light trade month every once in a while because I'm always trying to catch up on reading those. So kicking things off, issue 3 of Miss Truesdale and the Fall of Hyperborea. Pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correct. This has been a really good book. I've been really enjoying it. Jesse Lonergan on art. Really grown to really enjoy it. Not that I was against in the first issue reading it, but yeah, it reminds me of like Paul Pope, Jeff Lemire, kind of digging it. But I'm really liking this story. Um, it's kind of hinting at like I don't know, not hinting. It's talking about like the fall of Hyboria and maybe like the origin of the right-handed Doom, like Hellboy's right hand, like what happened, where it came from, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, I think there's maybe two more issues left of this, but I've been really digging it. And if I see anything else with art by Jesse Lonergan, I'll be sure to pick it up too. Yeah, big game number 1 from Image Comics. This is Mark Millar's big crossover event. I probably mentioned this book before just because I was reading Nemesis Reloaded, and there's ads for this book in the back, and I was like, oh, this is a cool idea. It's basically all of the comics Mark Millar has written on his own independently, going back to Wanted, as you can see from the cover, Kick-Ass, the Cosmonauts or Chrononauts, and yeah, just all of them. And he's gonna have this big epic crossover. And I always thought that's a really cool idea, but not something I probably will pick up. I don't know. I'm reading a lot of books as it is, but when I got to the end of Nemesis Reloaded, it basically was just a setup. The whole book was a setup for this. So Nemesis Reloaded ends with the new Nemesis running into Wesley Gibbons, and who's the main character from Wanted, who basically runs like the crime empire that secretly runs the world, full of supervillains. That the syndicate's full of supervillains, and he basically tells Nemesis this whole thing was a trial to see if you were ready to join. And the first issue kicks off where a couple people kind of know something weird's happening, and from the villain side, Wesley's like, more heroes are popping up, more things are happening. This is getting closer to as it was back in 1985, which is when the villains first basically decided to band together and take over the world. So yeah, first issue is pretty good. The art's by Pepe Larraz, who did like X-Men during the Hickman era, and I really like the art. So yeah, so far so good. There's some characters I don't recognize, or things are mentioned that I don't really know because I haven't read all of Mark Millar's books. I actually have a trade for a book called The Ambassadors that I haven't read yet, and that's those characters are in this book. So I was like, who are they? But I guess I'll know as I'm reading. So yeah, no, it's issue 1 of 5. It so far is a lot of fun, and yeah, I did not see myself in this book, but it's good so far. Moving on to Red Room Crypto Killers number 3. This is like the last series for Red Room, the Crypto Killers. This is a fun issue talking about the history of, I guess, snuff films, not the real history, but so it should be pretty good. There's also like a news series that Ed Piskor does. I wouldn't say news series, but something I guess I've heard him say he serializes online, kind of like Latchkey Kids, kind of like a Garbage Pail Kids. Nah, not really that, sorry. More just like kids who get into a lot of trouble. It's kind of violence and everything, but yeah, a lot of fun. But I'm curious what Ed Piskor does after Red Room, so we'll see. Berserker, Poetry of Madness. This is just a one-shot within the Berserker universe. I wasn't really going to pick up a lot of... I don't think there's a lot of extra Berserker books, but Steve Skroce, who I'm a big fan of, from Doc Frankenstein theme, wrote and drew this, so this it looks pretty good. It's just a one-shot, which is really cool, so it's a pretty big fat issue. Looks like he's taking on giant monsters and just being the immortal dude that he is, so kind of interesting. See more about his past. Issue 5 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Usagi Yojimbo. This is the final issue of this run. So, yeah, I'm sure, the Turtles and Usagi's friends will be able to defeat all the robots and the Turtles return back in time. What's really cool is the first issue, when the Ninja Turtles go back in time, Michelangelo sees this flash that looks like it's the Turtles coming back. So, like, they return from the time they left. So I'm pretty sure there'll be that moment at the end of this where they are in the past, they return to the future, and Michelangelo sees himself going into the past. yeah, this has been a really fun book. I hope there's more of these kind of crossovers. I love the Turtles and I love you, Psycho Jimbo, so Ko stands the guy. Ultimate Invasion. The first issue was really cool. You know, the Maker basically steals a bunch of stuff in the Marvel Universe, builds an engine. All the Avengers and Reed Richards show up to stop him, and he kind of laughs at them. He asked Reed Richards this question: if you had the chance, would you basically would have killed me? And Reed's like, yes, because of how dangerous the Maker is. He's like, all right, I'll remember that. And then he disappears, and he finds a universe that's basically it's a version of the Marvel universe, right? It's a multiverse universe, and he's shaping it. He you see like Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy in high school, and they're at the science experiment where he gets bit by the spider, and he kills the spider before it bites Peter. So he's building his own perfect Marvel universe. I don't know, but it's got art by Hickman, art by Brian Hitch. It's written by Jonathan Hickman. So I really like the original Ultimate Universe run, and I'm a huge Jonathan Hickman fan. I pretty much get everything he does. So I'm, taking this book so far. But I'm at a not so much a dilemma, but in reading some of the press for this, it sounds like Hickman's going to restart the Ultimate Universe in a way. Like there's going to be 4 Ultimate books spinning out of this Ultimate Invasion, and Hickman's going to be the guiding. He's writing a couple of them, and he's also kind of guiding and shaping this new Ultimate Universe, which kind of means I'm all in again, just like I was for this X-Men run. Because, you never know when it's going to turn into something like his Fantastic Four or his Avengers runs. Not that the X-Men did. The X-Men certainly was like that. He wrote the X-Men for like 2 years and guided, and it was great. But once he left, I felt the quality wasn't there. So, and I don't really know if he got to finish his story. Either way, I'm in for Ultimate Invasion. It definitely is writing it. Also, neat little thing. The first time he started writing for Marvel was during the original Ultimate Invasion, near the end of it, and then he moved on to other books, but he kind of tied back to that stuff too. So, moving on. The unbelievable, unfortunately, mostly unreadable, and nearly unpublishable Untold Tales of I Hate Fairyland. It's just I Hate Fairyland spin-off. A bunch of different artists working with Scotty Young to tell just like side stories. So it should be pretty good. Just a bunch of little short stories. I'm really digging this this art here. But yeah, I really like I Hate Fairyland. It's hilarious, so I'm sure this will be just as funny. Clobbering Time, issue 5, the final issue. It's up to Ben Grimm the Thing and Doctor Doom and some crazy war watcher to defeat this guy who's been traveling through space and time to collect a bunch of stuff to rewrite history. So yeah, this is good. Again, Steve Gross. I got the other book by him this month as well, so that's pretty good to see 2 books by him in a month. I don't think I've ever had that all the years I've been reading comics. Yeah. Moving on, final issue of Hellboy in Love. Hellboy is in love, obviously. This is the final issue, so things should wrap up. They heavily implied that these two have gotten together in more ways than one, so good for Hellboy. And yeah, this should be really fun. I really enjoyed all the Hellboy stuff, so it's always good when Hellboy's actually in the books for some of the spin-offs, and this has been really good. Really been digging the art by Matt Smith as well, and yeah, it's interesting just flipping through some Dark Horse comics. All the ads are in the back, and then some you get like an ad in the middle, one ad page in the middle. So yeah, well, that's a choice by the creators. But moving on. Ooh yeah, Tyler Crook, The Lonesome Hunters, Wolfchild. So I got The Lonesome Hunters, the first series. I love Tyler Crook. I read a lot of his, well, I say I read a lot of stuff, but I jumped on the Tyler Crook train when he was doing a bunch of stuff for BPRD. I really like the first Lonesome Hunters book, so I'm really looking forward to this one. Seeing where it picks up, and as there's especially Dark Horse books, like what I like about this book, you turn the cover and the story just starts. There's like always like a really cool spread, and all the ads are clearly in the back of the book, which is cool. So you just get nothing but story. Moving on, another Hellboy. Oh, I just noticed the cover here. It's a wraparound with the sword from the first one. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Next book is another Hellboy spinoff, Panya, the Mummy's Curse. Panya is a character from BPRD. She is a mummy that they find. She's also clairvoyant, I guess is the term, clairvoyant. So when they find her, she's a mummy, but then she comes alive. She hangs out with the BPRD, rolls on the wheelchair, loves cats. So I guess this is her origin. So that's kind of cool. I really like Panya as a character in BPRD, so looking forward to learning a bit more. And Christopher Mitten does the art on this. Like all these books are written by basically Mike Mignola with Chris Robertson or Mike Mignola with Christopher Golden. But yeah, Christopher Mitten's on a couple of these side stories too, so really digging that as well. Void Rivals #2. First issue was kind of cool. It was a tie into Transformers, like Starfire shows up in it, or Jetfire. I don't remember that Transformers name. The one that's supposed to be in Macross. So yeah, so far digging this story. I will see where this goes. It's kind of a classic tale of two warring space civilizations, and members of each race meet up stranded, and they have to work together to not die. So we'll see how it goes. Again, this is like the kickoff for a shared GI Joe, Transformers, Hasbro universe within Image Comics or Skybound imprint. So kind of curious what it goes to see. They've already got ads out for Transformers, which I'm picking up because Danny Warren Johnson is writing and drawing that. I saw GI Joes, and I think a Duke and a Cobra Commander book as well in the year. But then just the other day, I saw that they're also doing GI Joe issue 301, which is based on Larry Hama, who's been writing GI Joe for like decades. I don't know if he's just picking up his story from where it left off at IDW or what, but yeah, it's all coming together from him. And then last but not least, I Hate Fairyland. So the last issue, Groot, she's trying to get out of Fairyland again, and the new ruler of Fairyland is like, we got to do something. So his plan is to pull these Gerts from alternate timelines or the multiverse and convince them to go after and kill Gert, because nobody in Fairyland can do it. So I'm sure this will be really good. Yeah, sorry. Oh geez, bit of a spoiler there. But yeah, that's it for all the singles. Pretty good stack. It's picking up again, and I've actually ordered a few more singles since last month because there's some books coming out that look pretty good. So we'll see how that goes. Moving on to trades. Like I said, just a couple of trades this month. Nothing too big. I got part 2 of The Human Target by Tom King and Greg Smallwood. Part 1 was a lot of fun. I really liked it. It's got this, like, I don't want to say Brubaker feel, because that's Tom King's a good writer. I like his stuff, but it's got a nice little Elseworlds. I like Elseworlds Tales, which it is, and this is a really fun book anyway. So part 1 ended really well. Looking forward to finishing this. Oh, the Dust Jacket hardcover is pretty good. I don't know if you can tell. It's got Chase and Ice, but I do like the Dust Jacket, so maybe I'll keep the Dust Jacket. This kind of reminds me of, like, just the way this book's put together, the Parker books that Darwin Cook did. But it's got kind of that feel, which is not disservice, or that's good. And then yeah, I also got the collection of 8 Billion Genies, which I got all the singles, and I think it's easily one of my favorite series that I read in the last year. So this is just the hardcover collected edition, so I can like lend this out to people so they can read it and see how good the book is. It's got a bunch of the covers in the back, which is good. A lot of the variant covers is good. Like this one by James Herron here on the left is pretty sick. I just wish James Herron was doing more work. I know James Herron is working on stuff right now, but I didn't know there's a Jim Rugg cover. That's good. Tradmore, classic. Spawn cover, cool. Yeah. So just lots of cool stuff in this book. And again, I really like this book. I really like this series, and there's some really neat behind the scenes stuff in here, which I'll have to go back and read. And yeah, it's a really good book. I think, what's this? Wishes You Missed. Interesting. Kind of some director's notes. Cool. But again, I like the series a lot, so I got this. So if someone comes by and like, hey, I really like do you like comics, Curtis? What should you read? And I'll be like, take this. You'll like this. This is fun. But yeah, that's everything for July. Summer's been a lot of books. I got August's books coming up pretty fast, so I'll be flipping through those as well. I'm all caught up, so I just got to get through this stack, and then I can read August's when they get here. and yeah, get that next video out. So as always, let me know what you think. Send me your cheers, and I'll see you next time.